Hello, come on in, like the video as you come in. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Me 21, where we talk hot topics, trending topics, what's going on in the news, what's been trending right now. Pam Bundy is trending. I just recently came back yesterday, and we generally talked about the Kardashians. Today we're gonna do Pam Bondi. This is big for her being fired. Many people talked about Pam Bondi in regards to how she handled the Epstein case, the Epstein files, what should have been released, what was supposed to be released. Then remember months ago, there's she was basically trying to say there's nothing to be released. So we're going to get into all that. So everybody was like, what are you talking about? You told us that there was a bunch of stuff that needed to be released. So there was a lot that was happening in regards to Pam Bundy. So give me a few moments to get into my system and get into what's happening, what's going to happen. But this is something that a lot of people are talking about. So just allow me a few seconds to get into the system. It's going to take a while for my notifications to go out because I've been out. So just a few seconds to do my disclaimer, and then we'll get into the videos. All comments are alleged, period. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. So go ahead, play this clip, and then that way I'll do the rest of the things I need to do on this side.
President Donald Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi just 1 year after she was sworn in. A source told CNN on Thursday, April 2nd, that Trump let Bondi go following what was described as a tough conversation the day before. While there were multiple reasons behind the decision, Trump was reportedly most frustrated with Bondi's handling of the Epstein files and for not prosecuting enough of his political opponents. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will temporarily step into the role as Bondi's replacement. Much like former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was fired and reassigned last month, Bondi will reportedly be moved to a different position within the administration rather than being let go entirely. Bondi's firing marks the second major cabinet shakeup of Trump's second term. Noem was removed from her role as DHS Secretary earlier in March after a series of bruising congressional hearings and was reassigned as Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. The pattern suggests Trump is willing to make swift changes when he feels members of his team are not delivering on his priorities.
Like a video. It's interesting that some of the people from his cabinet are
President
being
Donald Trump
moved.
has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi just 1 year after she was sworn in. A source told CNN on Thursday, April 2nd, that Trump let Bondi go following what was described as a tough conversation the day before. While there were
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the videos of what everyone's talking about.
Breaking news: President Trump has apparently fired his Attorney General Pam Bondi, according to a senior administration official and a source familiar with the matter. This comes after NBC News learned that the president has grown frustrated with his Attorney General in recent days, according to multiple sources. I want to get right to our team covering all of it. Our Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell is joining us. We've also got our White House correspondent Monica Alba as well. Kelly, let me start with you. This is not altogether surprising, considering the reporting from NBC that the president was frustrated with Bondi's performance leading the Department of Justice.
And we've often seen the president let some of his intentions, feelings, concerns bubble out publicly as one measure of how he makes these decisions. For Pam Bondi, this is a blow because she has been a very loyal sort of friend and ally of the president for a long time, going back to Florida, assisting in the first Trump term. And this, in many ways, comes down to a representation of the frustration that President Trump has, that his vision for how he could exact retribution against political rivals and those who had, in his perception, done him wrong at some past point, to be brought to justice. That has not happened, even though this Department of Justice under Pam Bondi has attempted to do so in a number of areas where we've seen the failed attempts to prosecute James Comey or Letitia James. Then there's the broader issue of the Epstein files. There was a moment where Pam Bondi, who in the journey of her time as Attorney General has been both loyal but has also committed some self-inflicted errors, she talked about having the so-called Epstein list on her desk, and that never materialized. She had led people to believe there would be more come on Epstein, and then initially last summer, the Department of Justice said the files would be closed, there was no action to be taken, and that triggered a groundswell that was a broader political coalition than you might expect, certainly those in the MAGA community, and then those who were very supportive of the survivor community around Epstein. Allie, you've talked to a number of those survivors, and there was a political engine that developed around them, bringing it to a point where Congress required the Department of Justice to produce those files. They have done so, but only in a limited way. It has not been the full set of files. So Pam Bondi has not been able to insulate the president from some of the criticism related to the Epstein ordeal. She has not been able to deliver on some of his desired prosecutions, and that frustration has apparently bubbled up. All the ways in which she has been loyal were certainly put in a back seat, and she was in the seat with him yesterday, going in the beast, as it's known, the presidential limousine, to the Supreme Court to listen to one of the key ideas of his time in office, which is birthright citizenship that he wants to challenge. Apparently, she was unable to save herself in those personal, direct moments with the president. She attended his speech last night in the White House. So personal relationships only go so far. Loyalty is sometimes only one way when we observe Donald Trump. And Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the United States, is out. Hallie?
As we're looking at some of these images, Kelly, that video of the apparently now former Attorney General being seen with President Trump as he visited the Supreme Court yesterday. Let me bring in Monica Alba now. So the question is, who takes her place? This is an incredibly prominent cabinet position. It's critically important to the functioning of the Trump administration. It is a department that the president has a personal interest in and has taken an interest in. We know that the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, has been somebody who has been vocal, who has been prominent on the airwaves. There's also some reporting that we have from sources that former Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin may also be in the mix.
Yeah, and of course, he is already in the cabinet, Lee Zeldin, Hallie, that you referenced there as the EPA administrator. So he is somebody who could be potentially tapped for that. But it does appear now that the president spoke by phone with another outlet and seemed to confirm that Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, would now take the place of interim Attorney General, at least at this moment, while they do figure out this transition and before they do make any potential announcements. It is typical for the President of the United States to be the one that usually shares some of this information on Truth Social or in some kind of an appearance or announcement, but he has yet to.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here. I'll go ahead and play this clip, and it'll start from the beginning. Hold on. Like the videos y'all come in. Like the videos you guys come in. Thanks for being here.
President Donald
Hold on.
Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi just 1 year after she was sworn in. A source told CNN on Thursday, April 2nd, that Trump let Bondi go following what was described as a tough conversation the day before. While there were multiple reasons behind the decision, Trump was reportedly most frustrated with Bondi's handling of the Epstein files and for not prosecuting enough of his political opponents. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will temporarily step into the role as Bondi's replacement. Much like former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was fired and reassigned last month, Bondi will reportedly be moved to a different position within the administration rather than being let go entirely. Firing marks the second major cabinet shakeup of Trump's second term. Noem was removed from her role as DHS secretary earlier in March after a series of bruising congressional hearings and was reassigned as special envoy for the Shield of the Americas. The pattern suggests Trump is willing to make swift changes when he feels members of his team are not delivering on his priorities.
Let's continue with the news. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Do that. But as Kelly just pointed out, Pam Bondi has been a ubiquitous figure in this White House. She has attended many of the events. She has traveled with the president quite frequently. She's been at his side more than, of course, any other attorney general in recent memory. When you think about the sort of separation between the head of the Department of Justice and a White House and that wall that goes between the two, that is something that was essentially erased in this administration. And the president had Pam Bondi at his side all of the time. And there was a message posted some months ago in which he seemed to and appeared to post what was meant to be a private message that started with the word Pam, and had a directive about actions that he wanted to see her take on when it came to potential indictments for people that he wanted to see happen in a faster way with more of an urgency to it, directing her essentially to really treat that as a top priority. So we know that that frustration had been bubbling since then, and the White House hadn't confirmed that that was something that the president meant to make public, but he did, and we later were able to confirm and report that that was exactly the case. And the president hasn't been shy about that. He has said publicly that he would like to see more cases go forward, and he has expressed that mounting frustration when he feels that that hasn't happened in certain particular cases. So this was a situation in which the president really has resisted a lot of high turnover in his cabinet. Of course, some weeks ago, we did see the DHS secretary, former Secretary Kristi Noem, fired from her position before former senator, now the new DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen, was put into place. And that had been the first actual cabinet secretary that was ousted and then replaced. So Pam Bondi will be the second in a very critical role here, as she has been involved in many of the very urgent matters and situations that the president has been dealing with, from everything on national security to, again, some of these more local and domestic investigations that he wanted her to pursue.
And Monica, as you were delivering that report to us, one of our colleagues, Gabe Gutierrez, is reporting that according to a source familiar with the decision, it's Todd Blanche who will step into place as the acting attorney general for now. Again, not unexpected. We will see if that holds potentially for Blanche as a permanent position. Monica Alba, thank you. Kelly O'Donnell, our thanks to you as well. That does it for now for our NBC News special report, but we've got much more ahead on our streaming channel, NBC News Now, online at NBCnews.com, and then more, of course, later tonight on Nightly. I'm Hallie Jackson. Thanks for watching. Talk soon.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys comment. Are you surprised that Pam Bondi has been fired? Some are not. Let's continue.
Attorney General. Earlier this week, she was by President Trump's side when he made the unprecedented move to attend the Supreme Court hearing. But on Thursday, the president posting, "We love Pam. She'll be transitioning to a new job in the private sector," where Bondi says she's thrilled to continue fighting for President Trump. Two sources familiar with NBC News, Trump and Bondi had a heated confrontation at the White House last week, although the sources did not specify what it was about. Replacing her for now, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who once served as the president's personal...
It's interesting how he's doing replacement, moving them around, because guess what? They don't want the lawsuits right now. Fire them, get them out of there from their position. They could have possible lawsuits. Just my opinion. And he doesn't want that. So let me move you around so I don't have to deal with lawsuits of firing and letting you fully go. I think that's a possibility that he's concerned about that. He doesn't need that pressure. He doesn't need that stress. So let me move you from one position to another.
Defense lawyer during his hush money trial in New York. Bondi is a former Florida Attorney General who served on President Trump's defense team during his first impeachment trial.
So help me God.
As the U.S. Attorney General, she was a lightning rod.
You don't tell me. No, I did tell you.
Repeatedly clashing with Democrats, but drawing praise from the president.
She's going to go down as a great Attorney General. I may change my mind about that.
Still, last September, the president posted publicly on social media what an administration official says was intended to be a direct message to Bondi, pressuring her to prosecute his political opponents.
I'm looking at Pam because I hope something's going to be done about it.
She drew criticism from across the political spectrum for her handling of the Epstein files, including from inside the White House. Chief of Staff Susie Wiles telling Vanity Fair back in December that Bondi, quote, whiffed the release. At one point, Bondi claimed the DOJ had the late sex offender's client list.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
But later, reversing course.
Our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list.
Congress recently subpoenaed Bondi to testify about the Epstein investigation. We've got to ensure that the truth with this investigation still gets out. The family of Epstein accuser, the late Virginia Giuffre, writing in a statement, we hope she has the courage to testify and actually do right by survivors this time. There was also a significant shakeup at the Pentagon overnight. 3 U.S. officials tell NBC News that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth just fired 3 Army generals. Among them, Army Chief of Staff General Randy George, who had been a top advisor to Biden Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Craig.
Gabe Gutierrez starting us off here at the White House. Gabe, thank you for more now on the cabinet shakeup and the impact, reaction. Let's bring in Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press. Kristen, good morning to you. So, Kristen, I mean, Pam Bondi, by all accounts, was pretty loyal to the president, went after his perceived political enemies from time to time. She was even...
Good morning, everyone. Please continue to hit the like button. There's 67 people in the building. The likes should match the views. As you come in, please hit the like button and thank you. And also subscribe. We're still trying to hit 50K this month. Thank you.
At the White House the night before the announcement came out, what do we know about what finally tipped the scales?
Well, Craig, look, based on my conversations and NBC's reporting, President Trump's frustration with Attorney General Pam Bondi had been building over time, but in recent months really centered around 2 main flashpoints. Her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. There was this perception that she was responsible for a series of missteps, and her inability to effectively prosecute his perceived political enemies, like former FBI Director James Comey. Now, Craig, look, we have to note, it's hard to know if anyone else would have been more effective given the constraints of the law. Bondi was deeply loyal, though, to Trump, and it's clear that just wasn't enough to save her job. The fact that she's now been ousted just weeks after Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, Craig, raises some real questions about whether others in the administration could be next. So that's part of what we'll be watching for here.
Kristen, the number 2 at DOJ, Todd Blanche, is now going to be the acting attorney general, someone you've interviewed before. Any sense that he might actually get the top job? And if not, who?
Laura, great question. Look, Blanche is absolutely one of the names we are hearing who could be a replacement. He's incredibly loyal to the president, having served as his personal attorney. Worth noting, been the public face of the Department of Justice on some of the thorniest issues from the Epstein files surrounding ICE enforcement in Minneapolis. Now, another person the president is eyeing for the job, according to sources familiar with his thinking, the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Lee Zeldin. Mr. Trump has referred to him as the administration's secret weapon. In fact, Zeldin is an Army veteran with a background in law and crisis management, actually. But let's just back up. Whoever the president picks will undoubtedly be someone who will aggressively pursue prosecutions against his biggest rivals and also navigate the complicated legal issues hanging over the White House right now. Not surprisingly, Republicans, including some I've spoken to, are hoping to move quickly to confirm whomever President Trump nominates for this post. Lauren Craig.
All right, Kristen Welker. Kristen, thank you. We know you'll have the very latest this Sunday on that and much more, because if it is Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC, or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Life is beautiful and fragile.
Like the video, fair use, reaction clip. Are you guys surprised she's been fired? Are you surprised? And are you surprised that she's been reassigned to a different position? Like the videos, you guys come in. Let's continue with the news. So concerning. Let's continue with the news. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for being here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning.
Up in just the past few moments right here. This is some new information as Fox News is reporting that Todd Blanche is set to become the interim attorney general. So if you're just joining us at this hour, you can see a graphic with 3 individuals: Attorney General Pam Bondi, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. The reason why all 3 of those are on the screen is that President Trump reportedly has fired Attorney General General Pam Bondi. That is according to two sources familiar with the matter who spoke with Fox News Digital. And President Trump is reportedly considering replacing Bondi with Environmental Protection Agency Director Lee Zeldin. That is according to sources familiar with that matter. Todd Blanche, who is currently the Deputy Attorney General, is set to become the interim Attorney General. That is according to Fox News. So some new developments unfolding in just the past few moments, and we did want to share that with you. We also wanted to share the breaking news with you from Fox News. Attorney General Bondi met with President Trump in the Oval Office last night. This was ahead of his speech to the nation on the war in Iran, where she was reportedly informed of her ouster.
So that might have been Wednesday night, not last night, of course.
That is according to two sources familiar with that meeting. And one of those sources said that by the time President Trump took his place behind the podium to speak to the nation, Bondi had already lost her job and was on her way back to Florida. So right now, President Trump reportedly considering replacing Bondi with EPA Director Lee Zeldin. That is according to sources familiar with that matter who spoke with Fox News Digital. Trump did hold a meeting with Zeldin at the White House Tuesday to talk about wildfire and prevention. That is where the talks of the transition also took place, according to an individual familiar with that meeting. So that particular source shared with Fox News Digital that Zeldin would be a plausible replacement, although that caveat saying that the president could, of course, change his mind.
Please double tap the screen to get the likes up, everyone. The likes should match the views. There's 70 people in here. We should have at least 50 likes. YouTube makes it easy, and it's free to double tap the screen. It's free to double tap the screen if you're watching from a phone or a tablet. Or you can hit the three dots to hit the like button, but definitely hit the like button. Yeah, many people are not surprised at all.
At any point. Now, when asked about this breaking news, a Justice Department spokesperson denied that reporting when reached for comment, saying, quote, the AG was with the president for the speech last night. And then when asked about the alleged meetings and Bondi's ouster, a White House source stopped short of confirming the information, but also relayed that it was, quote, not cold. The alleged ouster follows a recent New York Times report detailing that Trump was preparing to replace Bondi with Zeldin as the president had become increasingly unhappy with her performance in that role. And Fox News correspondent also just spoke with Attorney General Pam Bondi before this news broke. Bondi is sharing with Fox News correspondent saying that she's right now in Florida filming a child ID kit for abducted children with the NFL, flying into Tampa this morning, going straight to work. Attorney General Pam Bondi said that she will share those pictures soon. However, she declined to comment on that firing. So we are continuing to follow all of this breaking news right here on Live Now from Fox, as Fox News is reporting that Attorney General Pam Bondi has been fired. Todd Blanche is set to become the interim Attorney General, and President Trump is considering EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin as a replacement. Any additional reaction, any additional comment, we, of course, will let you know. We're also keeping a close eye on a live event that was scheduled to get underway at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. This was with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. He was set to appear alongside HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to talk about a MAHA win regarding microplastics. That latest update is that live event is now being pushed back to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, perhaps in response to this breaking news that we're sharing with you just now. We are going to be bringing that to you because it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Lee Zeldin asked about that. Meanwhile, we also have another live event that we are continuing to keep a very close eye on. And in fact, this pertains to this breaking news. This is actually the stage where EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is set to speak, because you can see that some of these signs panels. These posters say, confronting microplastics. So this is a live look where we are expecting to see EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin as well as HHS Secretary RFK Jr. That was slated to start at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's now been pushed back, but we do now have a live look inside where we likely will hear a line of questioning to EPA Administrator Zeldin about this breaking news. We will bring that to you as soon as it gets underway.
Dare to smell Nair like never before. Worship yourself. Nair.
I'm 61, and today I'm switching from walking to Tai Chi. I hope it helps my joints. This is me after 28 days of Tai Chi. And yesterday, my neighbor asked what I did to my knees.
On Monday, April 6th, we're starting the Tai Chi program for beginners. Build strength and lose stubborn belly fat with just 7 minutes a day. In 1 week, you'll feel it. In 2 weeks,
like the video, like the video. Hold on. Like the videos, y'all come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. Like the videos, you guys come in. Had to take care of something, so that took a minute. So are you guys surprised about Pam Bondi? Are you guys surprised that it took this long? You heard how we covered what she was saying like 2 weeks ago. She was kind of rude when she was speaking.
The major news today is that Pam Bondi was just fired by Donald Trump, which raises the obvious question here. Pam Bondi knows where all the skeletons are buried as far as the Epstein files are concerned, all the rest of Donald Trump's abuses of the Department of Justice, which of course Pam Bondi was a willing participant in executing. But given the fact that she knows where all of those skeletons are buried, how much of a problem could she pose as, you know, a disgruntled former employee of this administration?
You know, Brian, if she were to become an open book all of a sudden and actually care about the rule of law, care about our constitutional rights, care about the health of American democracy, she could create real problems for Donald Trump. Do I expect her to become any of those things or motivated by any of those concerns? Not in a million years. So she will probably go off into the private sector. She will, you know, sell her services or lack thereof to the highest bidder. And, you know, then she'll probably try to do favors for those clients to get them government contracts, to exploit her access to government officials. But the last thing I would bet my $1, my maximum bet on, is that all of a sudden she's going to say or do anything that would actually, you know, move the democracy ball forward.
Well, it's worth asking here because, you know, there is still the question, the lingering question of whether she's going to show up for her April 14th sworn deposition for the House Oversight Committee. There is some concern that James Comer and the Republicans on the Oversight Committee will say, oh, look, now that she's no longer in her position, we don't think that it's necessary that she come because, you know, it's onwards and upwards. We focus on who's actually at the Department of Justice. Meanwhile, you've got Robert Garcia and the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee who've already made it clear that her subpoena was lawfully issued, that it still stands, that it was for her, not the office of the Attorney General. And so what is your position here on the validity of this existing subpoena and whether she'll have to come and testify?
Yeah, so I guess 3 thoughts on that, Brian. One, of course, I expect James Comer to try to find a way to release her from her obligation to testify. 2, there are actually, I am no expert on the rules of the House, but there are some procedural hurdles to actually withdrawing that subpoena, but assuming that they will, you know, ignore their own rules and try to find a way to withdraw the subpoena. 3, I think it may await, her appearance may have to await.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. There's 112 in the building. Let's get the likes up, everyone. The likes should match the views. Please double tap the screen to get the likes up so we can continue. There's 112 in the building. Please get the likes up. Please get the likes up. Double tap the screen. There's a right-hand corner where there's 3 dots. You can also hit the like it that way. Or you can hit the like button above the video, below the video. Got to get the likes up. I've been out for 3 weeks. Got to get back in that algorithm. Please hit the like and thank you. Let's continue.
the Dems taking control in the House after the midterms. And then, accountability is on. Then you're going to see, I believe, lots and lots of subpoenas dragging these people in and wearing them out on virtually cross-examination, putting hard questions to them. And, one of the fringe benefits, Brian, of having a House in the hands of the Democrats and actually having oversight hearings is, these people will not be able to stop lying. They've been lying to the American people ever since Donald Trump, retook control of the government. And if they're hauled before Congress and they lie and they lie and they lie, every time they lie, it is a false statement in violation of federal law that carries up to 5 years in prison. So it may be that part of what the Democrats will accomplish once they take control of the House is just letting these people rack up the crimes to be addressed once we have a law-abiding president and a law-allegiant attorney general heading up the Department of Justice. And the one thing that we can't do is turn a blind eye, turn the other cheek, say, let's just put it behind us and forget about it, because all that will do is guarantee you're going to have a new batch of democracy busting wrongdoers, come into power in the future. Without accountability, good government is not possible.
Talk about the statute of limitations for Pam Bondi's violations or crimes. And I include in that, when she spoke with Ted Lieu, for example, during a congressional testimony, she had lied to Ted Lieu, and Ted Lieu called her out in real time for lying. She had come out and said that that there was no evidence of Donald Trump committing any crimes contained within the Epstein files. And we know that there is evidence. Credibility notwithstanding, that evidence does exist within the Epstein files. And so talk a little bit about that statute of limitations and what it would mean in terms of being able to continue holding her accountable in the future, even after Trump no longer has control of the DOJ.
Yeah, Brian, the example you just pointed out is the perfect example, because if you make a false statement to Congress, it is a 5-year statute of limitations. So when she lied to Representative Lieu, and that was inarguably a lie, and the reason I say inarguably is because she didn't even try to qualify her answer with, well, there's no credible evidence. That would have given her an escape hatch, false statements charge. But she didn't say that.
Glenn, what could you expect? She's only the Attorney General of the United States. How could you really expect her to be that well prepared?
Law is not her strong suit, apparently.
Which is a problem when you're the top law enforcement official in America. But go on.
Should be the least to expect in the top prosecutor. But so that will be, I don't want to say a sure winner when and if she's indicted and charged with false statements to Congress, but it will be a very strong case on the evidence. And
Please like the video, you guys. I need 50 people to double tap that screen to get the likes up. We're at 13 likes. We've been live for 31 minutes. 50 people to double tap that screen to get the likes up. YouTube makes it easy. All you have to do is double tap the screen. If you're watching from a phone or a tablet, please hit the likes. The likes should match the views. It gets me in the algorithm, and it's free to hit the like button. 125 people, thank you. 50 people to double tap that screen to get the likes up. Let's continue. Thank you for hitting the like, and thank you for hitting subscribe. Let's continue.
And it will survive well into 2029. That's what's most important, because as long as the Department of Justice gets off the accountability dime promptly, doesn't dither around like a certain former attorney general that we both know, then we're going to be good on the accountability front. But here's the other thing, Brian. It looks like to this old career prosecutor that she's also involved in a conspiracy to cover up what's in the Epstein files. It looks like she might also be acting as an accessory after the fact to the people who are implicated, incriminated in the Epstein files, and she won't investigate it. And they're still withholding some 3 million files in violation of federal law. They've been violating the federal law ever since December 19th, which was the deadline to release it all. So the good news is those statute of limitations haven't even begun to run yet. And they don't run when you're involved in some kind of a conspiracy until the very last conspiratorial act has been committed and completed. So we're going to have plenty of time to get after Pam Bondi.
Glenn, you mentioned Merrick Garland. How is the Merrick Garland DOJ instructive in terms of what Democrats should do next when they retake control of power as it relates to the Pam Bondis of the world?
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here. Continue to hit the like button by double tapping the screen. Hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Thanks for being here. Let's continue. Okay, the commercial has gone past.
The federal law ever since December 19th, which was the deadline to release it all. So the good news is those statute of limitations haven't even begun to run yet. And they don't run when you're involved in some kind of a conspiracy until the very last conspiratorial act has been committed and completed. So we're going to have plenty of time to get after Pam Bondi.
Glenn, you mentioned Merrick Garland. How is the Merrick Garland DOJ instructive in terms of what Democrats should do next when they retake control of power as it relates to the Pam Bondis of the world?
Brian, I hope we've learned our lesson on the accountability front. You know, we are wanting to put this long national nightmare behind us, me as much as anybody else, because, you know, this is pretty exhausting, fighting for the rule of law, the Constitution, and democracy every damn day. But I hope the lesson that we learned from Merrick Garland's dithering for literally years until he finally got around to appointing Jack Smith, and that was too little, too late. I hope that the Dems will recognize they have to go hard, aggressively, apolitically, 100 miles an hour in the direction of accountability from day one, because you can't just sleep on democracy. We've seen what Trump and company are doing. The challenge is cataloging all their crimes, but there are some working groups that are being put together to make sure we can address that on day one. But let me also say, Brian, it's hard to envision a less ethical attorney general than Pam Bondi. I don't know why Donald Trump would get rid of her when she came in on day one with an enemies list. It was literally Donald Trump's enemies list, and she said, I'm going to go after these people. That was her signaling a willingness, indeed an intent, to weaponize and corrupt the Department of Justice for Donald Trump's purposes. She turned a blind eye to all of the crimes committed by ICE agents and CBP agents, crimes up to and including murder of American citizens like Renee Good and Alex Preddy. She's doing nothing other than interfering with the state of Minnesota's ability to, investigate and prosecute those crimes, which also violated Minnesota state law. She prosecuted Donald Trump's perceived enemies on command. Donald Trump actually posted something, hey, Pam, you got to get after, I'm paraphrasing, James Comey and Letitia James, and lo and behold, she brought charges against them, though they had committed no crime. She then went a step further and tried to indict the innocent Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other members of Congress who simply accurately recited military law, that military members must disobey unlawful orders. She issued unlawful subpoenas to try to harass Jerome Powell because he wouldn't bend to Donald Trump's will and lower interest rates. Instead he was guided by economic data. But I mean, it goes on, and it kind of culminates, or maybe the overarching umbrella.
Oh, you're worried that Todd will be much worse? That's concerning. That's really concerning. Thanks for saying that. I have to look more into Todd. Thanks for telling me that. Let's continue. 25 likes. Let's get the likes up, everyone. Please continue to double tap that screen to get the likes up. The likes should match the views. YouTube makes it really easy. Double tap the screen or look for the 3 buttons on the right-hand corner, or hit the like from above the video, below the video. Thanks for being here.
Is the Epstein files, where she refuses to investigate any of the wrongdoing in the Epstein files, including wrongdoing by Donald Trump,
which is crazy.
Countries around the world are not only investigating.
Countries around the world have to be laughing at us. We look a hot mess in the United States. Real talk.
But they're issuing search warrants. They're making arrests, including of powerful, and prominent people like former Prince Andrew and the former UK ambassador to the US, Peter Mandelson. And, this is one that really bothers me deeply. Pam Bondi has killed the ethical guidelines and the ethical guardrails for DOJ attorneys. And now she's trying to kill the state's ability to conduct ethics investigations over the attorneys who work for DOJ but hold state bar law licenses. I mean, how could you want a less ethical attorney general than Pam Bondi? So I got to tell you, Brian, this one may end up being a miscalculation unless, I don't know, maybe Donald Trump is going to pull Matt Gaetz out of mothballs and try to make him the attorney general again.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And that's been the hard part to wrap my head around, is because Trump's unhappiness with how Pam Bondi is perceived, at least publicly, is a reflection of Pam Bondi executing Trump's priorities. And so if Trump is upset with that, he has himself. Pam Bondi is not some, independent actor at the DOJ. She's an appendage of Trump. She is his vehicle to do exactly what it is he wants to do. There are entire portions of the Department of Justice that have been decimated because Trump wanted it. There have been political enemies of Trump that have been prosecuted, or who they attempted to prosecute because Trump wanted it. The Epstein files are being suppressed because Trump wanted it. And so the notion that Trump can look at Pam Bondi doing his bidding and feel the public
total three-ring circus is sad. And everyday people see that it's sad. Normally some things go over people's head. A lot of this stuff is not going over people's heads at all. These people should not have the jobs that they have. They should not be working for our country at all. It's almost like they just go punch in and they don't want to do anything. It's sad. The Epstein stuff in itself is bad. Let me continue. Thanks for being here, everyone. Fair use reaction clip. We're a laughing stock, flat out.
pressure against her and not recognize that it's owed entirely to him is.
And then is he okay? Is he okay? And of course, even with the Biden situation, was Biden okay?
Just is, it kind of blows my mind. And we've seen this before, by the way. Ronna McDaniel was forced to resign her position as RNC chair because Donald Trump needed some scapegoat when Republicans were losing all of their elections, and they were obviously running, under this MAGA banner, and people were refusing to vote for these people, vote for these clowns, and Trump didn't want to take responsibility. So of course the responsibility fell onto Ronna McDaniel for running the RNC in exact accordance with Donald Trump's wishes. And so he has a long pattern, a clear history of these people doing his bidding. The public turns against them, or or elections turn against them, whatever it may be, and then Donald Trump doesn't have enough sense to recognize that the public sentiment is against him, and so he throws those people under the bus to protect himself.
Brian, and it's kind of ironic that some of the reporting indicates Donald Trump got rid of Pam Bondi because she wasn't aggressively enough pursuing and prosecuting his perceived enemies. Here's the thing. She did that more aggressively than the law allows, trying to prosecute the innocent or send, beauty pageant contestant Lindsay Halligan into grand juries where she was not lawfully entitled to be, to walk out with bogus, baseless indictments. She went 1,000 miles an hour trying to misuse the power of DOJ to prosecute Donald Trump's perceived enemy. So it really wasn't a shortcoming on her part. It was the fact that we have at least one co-equal branch of government that is still standing up for the rule of law and performing its check and balance functions against a corrupt, runaway, abusive executive branch, and that is the judiciary. That is why Pam Bondi failed, not because she wasn't putting enough unethical effort into doing what Donald Trump wanted her to do, but who gets introduced to the undercarriage of the bus anyway? Pam Bondi.
Well, look, we will, of course, stay on top of who fills her role, as well as any other legal breaking news. So for those who are watching, if you'd like to follow along and support our work, the best way to do that, 100% free, is to
like the video. We're at 29 likes. Please hit the subscribe button, you guys, and continue to hit the like button. We should already be over 100 likes. We've been live for 42 minutes. Please hit the like button. Thank you. That's the best way to support the channel for free, by hitting the like button. Double tap the screen, please, and thank you.
Confirmed right now, so perhaps it's not as much of a surprise, but can you talk about the announcement, as well as on this? We do want to bring in Casey Myers with Virginia Tech to talk about this breaking news. And Casey, we appreciate you joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you for having me.
So there have been reports that President Trump was dissatisfied with how Attorney General Pam Bondi was performing in her role and considered, firing her. That has been confirmed right now. So perhaps it's not as much of a surprise, but can you talk about the announcement as well as the timing of all of this?
Well, it's an unfolding story, as you said, and so we're just learning some of these details. She was brought in, really thought to be a Trump loyalist, and had a close personal relationship with Trump prior to his second term, and so she was thought to be a person that he had a lot of confidence in. Ultimately, there seems to be some challenges that she's experienced around maybe some of her messaging, also related to the Epstein files and the handling of that by the DOJ. But again, it is a surprising announcement, I think, just given the fact that she has been frequently thought of as a Trump loyalist and somebody that the president had a lot of confidence in.
And we've only heard President Trump praising her whenever they're in a room together. I also wanted to share this with our viewers. This just coming in as President Trump has confirmed Attorney General Pam Bondi is out as the Attorney General. He took to Truth Social just moments ago, and I wanted to share that statement with everyone, saying, quote, Pam Bondi, great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my Attorney General over the past year. Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown in crime across our country, with murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector to be announced at a date in the near future. And our Deputy Attorney General and a very talented and respected legal mind, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting Attorney General. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Signed, President Donald J. Trump. Casey, as we take a look at this statement that I just read to everyone, is there anything that you can glean from it? Any particular verbiage, wording? What stands out to you?
Well, I think that what stands out is that the tone is one that is acknowledging her contribution, and I think trying to position this as a transition that has been mutually agreed upon. If you go back to the first Trump term, there was a lot of turnover in the White House, turnover in the cabinet, and it created this sort of, I think, a kind of a communications problem for the administration, and also kind of signaled, some dissent within the administration. This seems to be very different in the second term with the cabinet writ large. But again, I think this is just kind of positioning this as something that is an expected transition. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we don't really know what the motivations here are. We've heard a few things kind of being chatted about within online and in the media space, but again, that's just speculation at this point.
And we're also hearing from Todd Blanche. He also took to social media saying that Pam Bondi led this department with strength and conviction, and I'm grateful for her leadership and friendship. Thank you to President Trump for the trust and opportunity to serve as acting Attorney General. We will continue backing the blue, enforcing the law, and doing everything in our power to keep America.
I'm trying to remember who the Attorney General was before Pam Bondi. And they might not have handled things the way she did. So maybe she was put in that position to handle how she handled it. When you think about it.
So also confirmed Todd Blanche will serve as acting Attorney General. But I also want to ask you this, because President Trump has not yet confirmed what Fox News is reporting, that Lee Zeldin.
Because hasn't she known Trump for years? Isn't there a picture floating around that Pam Bondi knew Trump for years? There's a lot of different stories about Pam Bondi. There's a lot of different stories. I'm wondering if I did that short a month ago, talking about Pam Bondi and certain things and certain funding, and she was supposed to work on a certain case, but then they gave her money for funding or something. There's stories out there about Pam Bondi that's not going to be able to be pushed under the rug, not talked about. It's kind of concerning when you think about it. That did she take that job and they knew, and that she controlling everything she did, everything she put out, but now she's going to be the one that's going to catch the wrath of it all.
Is potentially being tapped to fill this role. Can you talk about his qualifications? Because that might be just a little bit of surprise to have EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin in this role as Attorney General.
Well, we know that he's been close to the administration, worked in the administration. He seems to have had a lot of praise from President Trump over the years, and so I'm not surprised by that. Now, what may happen here in a confirmation, you may see a very acrimonious confirmation process when that begins, should he be the nominee. But I think you're going to see that regardless of who is selected to replace Bondi. I also think that this is something that is, again, if you go back to that first administration, where there was a lot of turnover and acrimony. This seems to be a little bit calmer, and I think they're kind of positioning this and messaging this a little bit differently than what we saw in the past. But again,
be kind in the comments. Be kind in the comments. Like the videos you guys come in. Thanks for being here.
this is, again, a surprising development and one that we're still going to have to kind of learn about how this unfolds and who the nominee is before we see how this shakes up. The other thing is that this is an election year with the midterms coming up, and so that we may see a little bit more political maneuvering and kind of heightened political rhetoric around this. So it'd be interesting to be seen how it develops.
And to your point, talking about the upcoming midterm elections, there's been a lot of controversy over the Jeffrey Epstein files. That really has been a thorn in Attorney General Pam Bondi's side. But when it comes to the decision that President Trump has taken in order to fire Attorney General Pam Bondi, how does this decision compare perhaps to other relationships between previous presidents and their attorney generals?
Well, there's been some acrimonious relationships in the past, and if you go back into history, there's been examples of conflicts between presidents and attorney generals, or presidents and members of their cabinets, and so that's not something that's unique. And also, we do see cabinet posts change from time to time. And I think in this situation, though, what's surprising about it is that this was not really expected. It kind of came about suddenly. I think within hearing the news, and again, also I think coming from a person that was really positioned as a Trump loyalist when she came into the office, and during her confirmation and during her exchanges with Congress that we've seen very acrimonious with some Democrats over her positions in relationship with President Trump and loyalty to him. So again, as we see this kind of unfold, I think this is a politically significant event, and I think that's going to be something that we're going to hear a lot about, particularly when we're thinking about if Zeldin is going to be the nominee and when he goes through confirmation.
The Department of Justice is handling a lot of different cases, some incredibly high profile. As we take a look at this transition to Todd Blanche as the acting Attorney General, how might that impact, if at all, the current cases that the DOJ is handling?
Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
Cases that the DOJ is handling.
Well, I think that what they're going to want to do and what they're signaling in these messages is a continuity and a kind of a smoothness of transition, and that's to be expected. That would happen within any federal agency to kind of maintain, momentum, maintain structure. But again, the person at the top is oftentimes going to be changing priorities. They may be also bringing in new initiatives, and so we may see some changes with Bondi's exit, and certainly changes if there is a new confirmed Attorney General.
And Casey, I did want to share with our viewers, we're getting reaction from the other side, and I wanted to read that. Representative Robert Garcia, who is a ranking member of the House Committee on Oversight and Reform, just released a statement reacting to President Trump firing Attorney General Pam Bondi, saying this, quote, Attorney General Pam Bondi has been leading a White House cover-up of the Epstein files. She has weaponized the Department of Justice to protect.
I'll play this real quick so people can hear what's said right here.
After she was sworn in, a source told President Donald Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi just 1 year after she was sworn in. A source told CNN on Thursday, April 2nd, that Trump let Bondi go following what was described as a tough conversation the day before. Multiple reasons behind the decision, Trump was reportedly most frustrated with Bondi's handling of the Epstein files and for not prosecuting enough of his political opponents. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will temporarily step into the role as Bondi's replacement. Much like former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was fired and reassigned last month, Bondi will reportedly be moved to a different position within the administration rather than being let go entirely. Bondi's firing marks the second major cabinet shakeup term. Noem was removed from her role as DHS Secretary earlier in March after a series of bruising congressional hearings and was reassigned as Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. The pattern suggests Trump is willing to make swift changes when he feels members of his team are not delivering on his priorities.
Like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Like the videos you guys come in. Let's continue with the news. Continue to get the likes up, you guys, and thank you. We should be well over 100 likes. Please double tap that screen to get the likes up, and thank you.
Put survivors in harm's way by exposing their identities. She will not escape accountability and remains legally obligated to appear before our committee under oath. She must answer for her mishandling of the Epstein files and the special treatment she has given to Ghislaine Maxwell. Oversight Democrats have been leading serious investigations into Bondi and Secretary Kristi Noem. If they're moving on because they were fired, they are gravely mistaken. Kristi Noem, of course, has transitioned into a role outside of the DHS secretary, and now AG Pam Bondi ousted in her role. Can you talk about the reaction, because all of this focusing solely on the Jeffrey Epstein files?
Well, I'm not surprised with the statement, and of course, we've known with this term that Bondi has served is the Epstein files have been just kind of top of mind and it received kind of outsized media attention and has really consumed a lot of the kind of the political conversation. One of the things that I think that shows you also is maybe a precursor of things to come, both in terms of the political season that we're entering with the midterms, but maybe also what it may look like after the election should Democrats regain the House. Could there be more hearings and investigations around this, and could they be brought in to testify? And again, I think that this is something that has been a real talking point amongst Democrats now going on for the past year, and it seems that this is a continuation of that. And of course, this may also be kind of utilized during these midterms as talking points as campaigns heat up and the stakes become extremely high, given the fact that we have such kind of razor-thin Republican majority in the House.
You know what's interesting, Casey, is that the Jeffrey Epstein files controversy, there was a bipartisan agreement in terms of transparency and releasing. And in fact, Thomas Massey has shared this, Representative Massey, who is a Republican, saying, I support Trump firing Pam Bondi. Do you? I hope the next AG will release all the Epstein files according to the law and follow up with investigations, prosecutions, and arrests. And I do want to ask you this because Pam Bondi, she came under the microscope when it came to how she handled the Epstein files. President Trump doesn't want any tarnishing of his legacy. And if he sees someone from his cabinet, it seems, who is doing that, he does not want them to be in his cabinet. We saw that with Kristi Noem as she was answering questions in terms of the campaign that she said President Trump had agreed to spend money on. And he came out and immediately said, I had no knowledge of this. And immediately as she was transitioned into her new role, when we talk about, even just a broader picture of current cabinet members and job security, is there a lesson to be learned perhaps from what is happening right now?
Well, one of the things that we've seen with the Trump administration and President Trump in particular is that he's very cognizant of the public image of his cabinet and also the way that they handle themselves and the media handle themselves on televisions, handle themselves vis-a-vis Congress. And some of these exchanges have been intense, and with not just with Pam Bondi or Noem, but with other members as well of the cabinet and the administration. And so the kind of the optics of that, I think, becomes important in framing kind of the political agenda for the administration. And if that's a liability, or if the kind of the optics of that become a liability, that is something that has political consequences as well as practical consequences for the administration. So I think that this is very much part of how the analysis is within the administration in terms of just how they position themselves or view themselves vis-a-vis the publicity. And again, I think that we saw in both examples that you gave some real intense exchanges and maybe some messaging issues for both Bondi and Noem. And so that may have resulted in criticism and maybe resulted in their departure. I don't know. But again, I think that is part of the job. It'll be interesting to see when we have a new nominee, how they position themselves in that, particularly in something that may be an amicus hearing and just also with vis-a-vis the press.
And speaking about that, the media being, either your friend or your foe, but we were just hearing from the statement that I read from the representative Robert Garcia talking about the fact that they still want Pam Bondi to testify even if she's no longer the Attorney General. This is something that Representative Ansari shared, saying Pam Bondi helped carry out the most egregious cover-up in American history.
That's true. He said he was going to do exactly what he said he was going to do, which is kind of concerning in a lot of ways. Our country is a mess right now. A hot mess.
That's why I introduced articles of impeachment against her. She may be fired, but she is not above the law. Bondi must still comply with our subpoena and testify before the Oversight Committee about her criminally botched Epstein files release. We won't stop fighting until every victim gets justice and everyone complicit in this cover-up is held accountable, no matter how powerful they are. I want to ask you this, Casey, because Pam Bondi might still testify. She would no longer be the Attorney General. Does that change, if at all?
True. It was a mess way before he got into office, but he's been in office. This is his second term. A lot of the stuff with these presidents, Congress, they're getting older. They should not even be where they are. They're getting older. Some of this stuff they don't really care about. Everyday people are noticing what a mess this country is. Stuff being pushed under the rug, not paying attention. This Epstein stuff, when he went to jail, all those names should have been told. All those people that had parts in it should have went to jail along with him, along with Maxwell. All of them should have went to jail. Anything that has something to do that people are not protecting children, older people, single mothers, people in general. I watched, and see, this is the sickening part. Yesterday, I watched a video in regards to a white truck pulling up to kids playing in their yard. And they were trying to get children to get in the back seat of his vehicle. Luckily, the mother came out and she was like, "What are you doing in my yard? There's so much stuff happening in the world." Men have to be careful. Women have to be careful. Going into gyms, going into local places, white vans. You got to talk to your children about safety. Do not talk with strangers. It's so concerning because you got to realize these sickos now have to find ways to pick up people because they don't have the ways that they used to have. Who's the next Epstein person? We don't know who it is right now, but they're out there. Look at the Diddy's of the world, how he treated Cassie, how Cassie stayed in it. There's a lot of sick people in the world. You got to protect your children. You got to talk to your children. You got to talk to your husbands, your wives, your elderly parents. Look at Nancy, Savannah Guthrie's mother, removed from her house at 84 years old. 84 years old. Nancy Guthrie was removed from her home in a really well-known neighborhood. But we were asking, um what about the alarm? What about the blink camera? What about the camera she had? Who got the notification that somebody was in her mother's yard? There's so much going on. You got to protect yourself. You got to stay alert. There's so many scams going on, using your credit card just to get gas, going in to pay for gas. You got to be careful. They're popping off these extra machines that's trying to take your information. And then there's another scam going around. If y'all didn't hear this, be cautious. Sometimes people are getting text messages from their bank acting like they're the bank. Do not answer the text messages. Do not give out codes. You're having concerns with your bank, get up and go to the bank. Do not do anything with your phone regarding your bank. If there's an alarm that's asking for passcodes, this just happened to me 3 weeks ago. They're sending me a code. I don't open links. I don't do things on my phone. I'm very cautious. That just happened to me. I called my bank. She said, no, it's a scam. Older people are being scammed and millions of their dollars. They're losing thousands and thousands of dollars by giving these people access code from their phone. These people have gotten so technology smart where you actually think you're talking to your bank. You actually think you're talking to your bank. Do not give out codes from your phone. Do not give out codes or passcodes from your phone. Get up, go to your bank. There's so many scams going on, whether it's your phone, whether them trying to take. And guess what? The banks are saying you gave them the codes, your money's gone. Your money is gone. Luckily, this one man went to the police department. They were able to trace it. I think he used a different way. I can't remember what he did, and they were able to get some of his money back. But these older people, they're getting scammed in a big way. Talk to your elderly mother, father. Do not do things from your phone. Give out codes. You got a concern? Call me. Because sometimes your parents don't want to bother you. You got to talk to your parents about being alert, things they touch, people trying to talk to them. People are taking people's. When you go to get gas, you're thinking you're safe. Now I'm seeing there's a little sticker that they can put on the gas pump to try and get your information. Before we used to have to worry about the little thing being popped off. Now there's that. I just watched a video. I kid you not. I watched a video. A man went into the store to get gas and the machine popped off at the store. And the man just looked at him like, you got found out. You got to be cautious. I watch videos regarding our food. That's even more sickening in what they're putting in our food. The toxins is so concerning. There's so much going on, and these people are just sitting in office, letting it happen. The food that we're getting, I'm looking at videos about beef. I'm looking at videos about these restaurants. I'm looking at videos, burgers that should be going mold, they're not molding. Our food is so concerning. I've been chilling, Netflix chilling, and then watching videos about our food, what's put in our food. Some of the bread used to fall apart. Some of these bananas don't look right. Some of the steaks don't look right. The nuggets, we've talked about the nuggets. But what's being put in our food is so concerning. Other countries, It's not allowed. It's not allowed. It's not allowed in other countries. Why are they allowing it here? What's in cereals? What's in so much stuff? Certain things, there should be only certain ingredients. You got to watch the fruit you eat. I'm watching a video about apples and the coating of the apples. There's so much going on. And then we wonder why our elderly are getting sicker, why our children are coming up with these diseases and cancers at a very young age. So concerning. Why? And I get, what's his name? The Kennedy guy. But it's just not enough. There should be more bills passed that they should not be able to be putting these things in our food. If I showed y'all the chick videos I saw, so concerning. Some of your favorite restaurants. Some of your favorite restaurants. The chicken, the beef. I looked at videos in regards to people going to restaurants thinking they're getting amazing steak. It's sad, you guys, and they're just sitting back. Not only do we have the Epstein stuff, but what's put in our food, what we're thinking we're giving to our children and our families. I was shocked. Like I said, when I saw that video, this van just literally pulled up into this woman yard trying to get these two children to go into their van. You got to be careful touching pumps. You got to be careful watching your children. You have to talk to your children. You have to talk to your adult parents. You got to talk to them. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. And these banks, once you give the codes, there's nothing your bank can do. You gave them access to your money and you think you're talking to your bank. I got the text message. And I called my bank and I was like, and I didn't get no code stuff. I just got a text message and it looked weird. But a lot of times your banks are close enough. Just don't answer any text messages from your phone. They're actually getting into your phones and they're acting like the bank now. So you got to be careful. The scams are everywhere. In the food, we're getting scammed. Regards to your bank accounts, we're getting scammed. How you try to get gas, and people just want people see it's been more convenient where you just use your card and swipe and go. A lot of people aren't using cash like we used to, but it's like if you use cash, then you won't get scammed. You got to keep an eye on your bank accounts. You have to. These people are trying to scam any way, any form, any fashion. You got to keep and watch your finances. You have to. You have to. There's so much going on. And like I said, in regards to this Epstein stuff, many people should have went to jail when he went to jail, along with Maxwell, and then her being moved to a cushier jail cell. These people are, there's a lot I could say, but I'm cautious. It's sad that these presidents and these situations are just right in our faces and they act like it's not happening and we're not going to say anything. It's so messy. It's sad. It's sad. And it's like you have to talk to your children about general stuff that's going on. It's sad that you have to, but you have to. So they're alert. Watch your surroundings. Watch who you talk to. Back in the day, it'd be a weirdo trying to talk to somebody about a puppy. Now these dudes are pulling up in people's yards trying to snatch up children. You gotta talk to your kids about, I don't care who it is. And you gotta even talk to your kids about family members. Be cautious when you go to uncle's house, auntie's house, because some of these family members, you can't avoid them from having company. So, hey, if somebody tries to follow you in the bathroom, tell us. If somebody's trying to give you food that we didn't pack in your lunch, tell us. And then I watched a video on what they're feeding some of these kids in the schools. That chicken did not look like chicken. Talk to your, if you see something, say something. If there's a concern, say something. I have friends. Our kids don't play. You got a problem? We don't care if we're at work. We're coming. Call us. Tell your children if they're hanging out with their friends and something don't seem right, get out of the vehicle. Go to a safe location where there's light and many people. We will pick you up. Talk to your kids. if they're older, 18, 19, it doesn't matter. Tell them if there's a situation you feel uncomfortable, get out of the vehicle, call me. I will pick you up. Our friends have done that and we've saved our children's lives. And because sometimes they'll be like, oh, I don't want to bother my parent. No, my children know to call me. You're at school, there's a problem, call me. I've gotten people fired about playing with my kids back in the day. Yes, I did. I've gotten people fired. You don't play with mine. You got to talk to your children about you always need to be safe, cautious. There's a problem, you call me. And I've gotten people fired. You don't play with mine. And you make sure your children know I got your back. If nobody else don't have your back, I've got your back. You can't allow people to just treat you any kind of way. Even now I deal with stuff. I ignore a lot of stuff because people look to agitate you. And sometimes you could just give a person a look and be like, I know what you're doing. I'm not going to feed into your BS. You got to protect yourself. If there's a situation where you got to record, hit record. You got to tell your children, hit record. I don't feel safe. This is not a safe situation. Hit record and then go to police. You got to protect yourself. There's some weirdos out there. There's some weird people out there. This country needs people that's going to help adults, help children, help mothers, help fathers. There's a lot going on. And think about it too. More people spend so much time at work than their own home. That's crazy. Most people should be able to work 5 hours, 8 hours is overtime. Stop playing. These companies have you working. You're spending more time at work than you are at home. And then the overtime. Overtime should be after 8 hours. I'm sorry. You should be able to work a 4 day week, 5 day week. And then by the time you get home, you sleep. You only get 4 or 5 hours of chill time with your family. You're spending more time at work than you are with your families. That's why so many relationships and marriages are breaking up. That's why some guys and women are falling in love with people at work because they're at work with the people more than they are with their families. They don't care. They would rather stress you out and then you like you get there, so and so got a higher position, but you know more, you're supposed to train them. Excuse me, what? This is crazy. He for so long. Did they put her in this position because they knew that she'd be handling things the way? But you got to be careful getting in a position and then you get caught up. Now look at what Pam Bondi's going to have to deal with. Look at what she's going to have to answer to. Be careful the positions you take. People try and play with you and play okey doke with you. Be very clear with people. Be very clear with people. I am not to be played with. I am not to be played with. Family members trying to utilize you, trying to drain you. If you're already working so many hours and you're not even spending a lot of time with your friends and family, and then other family member wants to bring stress on, you got to be protective of your mind, body, soul, and spirit. You got to be protective. Our government is messy and it's not right. There's so much stuff that's going on. Yeah, so yeah, you guys be protective of your food, be protective of your children, what's in cereals. I was looking at a video of a guy going into the grocery store, and you really got to pay attention to organic. If the number is 9, that's better. My kids have always said, "Mom, this is healthier, this is healthier." Now I'm seeing stuff and it's even more concerning. You got to try and do organic if you can to protect yourself and your family. Watch videos of what you should be drinking, what you should drink in the morning, what you should drink at night. My goodness, I've had some time off these 3 weeks. I've learned a lot. You got to protect your family. You got to protect yourself. And then we wonder why so many people are not well is because what we're eating, what we're consuming, and some of these fast food places should be shut down. How is it even okay that they're able to do what they're doing to people? And it's like they're making mass burgers. Where's this meat coming from? Okay, let me just tell, and I can't confirm or deny. I watched a video. Should I even say that? I watched a video about rice. I'll be general. I watched a video about rice. So concerning. I watched a video about fries being made. It looked like somebody popped a pill in a fryer. What? And see, you also got to be cautious because some stuff is AI. Some stuff is AI. But if we're seeing a person actually doing it, that's not AI. Take care of yourself and your family. Look up nutritional things that you should be eating and doing. This government is something else. Who's putting office is something else. Some of our smaller cities and mayors, they're they're about just as bad. You got to go. If you're into politics, be into it. If you're into your city council stuff, be into it. And then sometimes too, that's the biggest issue. Sometimes people make us think they're going to do XYZ, and they get in there and other people are like, you better not do that, you better not say that, you better not change that policy. You want your job? Don't you need this job for your family? So some of these people probably think they're going to get in and do what they need for us. As look at Cash Patel and his videos. Look at how Cash Patel talked in the beginning and look at how he's acting now. And then wasn't there another director that he walked away from his position at the FBI? There's so much going on. There's so much going on. And a lot of these people know they're not even supposed to be in those positions. You can control. You can control your life. You what's going on in your immediate family. We over here, I'm a little different. I talk about what I see. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but you got to protect your families in regards to food. And you got to talk to your children and you need to speak to your husband. Are you happy? Are you okay? A lot of us have known people that just they're no longer here. They were sad, they were depressed. You got to talk to people you love around you. Are you okay? There's a lot going on. I have a person that's right now love him to death. Love him, love him, love him. They're sad about everything that's going on just regards to the war. They consume the news in a way that I don't consume the news. So I feel bad for them. But a lot of people take on a lot and they take it with sadness. So talk to your friends and family. Are you okay? Are you good? Talk to your girls. Is your girl in a situation where she feels safe? Is her man putting his hands on her? Are you good? Is he lying? Is he cheating? Do we need to come up with an action plan? But back to this politics, Pam Bondi has been friends with this man for years. So what's next? Who else is going to have to? And the Epstein stuff, many people were like, wow, we talked about the Epstein stuff in regards to things that were going on. Think about it. Remember how the Epstein house had masks? Some of these people probably didn't even know who these people were. High profile people, if they were politicians, if they were just businessmen, some of these people might have put those masks on, and some of these people may not have known who certain people were. The biggest thing is they have the text messages, they have the emails, they have the phone calls. I'm sure they have voicemail messages. Why haven't those people been put in jail? It's so concerning. It was, yes, everything she did was his direction. Everything she did was for his direction. Now she's been relocated to a different position. And now she may catch a lot of heat in regards to the decisions she's made. You got to protect yourself. You can't have somebody tell you what to do and then you could almost be going to jail. It's not worth it. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to lie about that. No, I'm not going to put that document out. No, I'm not going to, push that under the rug. No, don't ask me to do that. And then you have to be able to sit and talk with your spouse and say, I'm concerned about my job. And Husband and wives has to work together. Honey, I'm concerned about this. I don't want it to affect our household. I don't want it to affect our marriage. I don't want it to affect our children. But certain people don't feel comfortable telling their spouse about what's happening on their job. Certain spouses, and oh, we got this big old mortgage. Oh, we just got the new car. You got to live within your means. It's so important because you can get caught up in doing things that morally isn't right because of the decisions you made. So you got to talk to your spouse. Honey, let's live within our means. Let's go on vacations this amount of time. Let's make sure we use this credit card to go on vacation. Don't take our credit card that has 20,000 on it. Let's put 10,000, 5,000 on the card. That'll cover our travel. That'll cover, and maybe someone as a parent will know what that big card is. You take that big old card on vacation, anybody can take that card, use it, swipe it, whatever. You got to do whatever you got to do to protect yourself. You have to, because there's so many scammers out there that will do anything to get access to you and your money. So you got to be cautious. A smaller credit card that you take and that you utilize, and maybe that's the one that you use for gas. Maybe that's the card you use that has $100 on it. So if something happens, okay, they have access to the $100 card. They don't have access to the card that's got 20,000, $30,000 on it. You got to do things that's protecting you in the long run. It's not to panic or give you anxiety, but there's so many scams that's going on. You got to protect your household. I feel so bad watching these videos in regards to the elderly people and their money being taken, their life savings, $50,000, $70,000 just from answering a text message from your phone, and you think it's your bank. There's a lot going on with this government. And that's the one thing. Even though Kamala Harris tried to tell us, she's like, I told y'all so. Well, Kamala, we didn't see you do much within the time you were there. So Kamala was giving us word salad. We were concerned that she can even handle anything. She should, everyday people, many people felt everyday people could talk better than Kamala Harris. And there might have been people in her ear telling her what to say, what to do. This is going to make you look better. And think about it. Kamala was using entertainers to try and speak to us. No, you have this scandal, and see if you're smart and you watch what celebrities got going on. You have a scandal going on over here. We're not going to listen to you. So that's where Kamala kind of went wrong, because you're using entertainers to try and think they're going to influence us. We see the wrongdoing they've done. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on, and it's been this way for years in regards to people in office, politics, the lies, the deceit, pushing it under the rug, acting like it's not happening, making the decisions that you're making, didn't get approval to do this and that. In regards to the restructure of the White House, he's made decisions that some of the decisions he wasn't supposed to do and deal with. So there's a lot going on, and a big power struggle in regards to people flexing. And now and think about it. Some of these past congressmen, mayors, politicians have gone to jail for some of the decisions they've made. What? Some of these politicians have gone to jail in regards to some of the decisions they've made. So be cautious, be careful. You know, just alert your family, alert your children. It's a lot going on, y'all. It's a lot going on. At first I was like, should I cover politics? Yes, inform people. Yes, talk to people. Let them know that the scam is going on in regards to text messages. Let them know you got to be cautious about your food. These I knew that certain stuff in regards to food was concerning. I didn't know it was this bad. I didn't. I'm. Yeah, I'm cautious. Look up videos in regards to how food is made and processed. Look it up. You will basically clear out most of your kitchen. Look it up. You got to talk to your child if they're not happy about the lunches that they're getting at school, and you might have to come up with a better idea or a way to feed your children. So concerning. So concerning what that's in our grocery stores. And why are normal everyday people telling us go to local farms to get your meat, go to local farms to get your eggs? I saw a video in regards to certain eggs. I saw a video in regards to certain chicken. I saw a video in regards to certain beef. Y'all, I'm disgusted. So not only do we have issues in regards to our government, we have issues in regards to what they're feeding everyday people. These grocery stores are full of stuff that should not even be on our shelves. Okay, y'all, I have some business I have to take care of and I can't be late. How did we get on this? Somebody typed something and I just run on a rampage that our government is a hot mess and we're looking at this news and it's even worse now because what Epstein did was unthinkable. How he was able to get away with XYZ for so long, and these people sat with Epstein, smiled in his face, and act like he was never going to be caught. And then there's a guy very similar to him. I got to do a video on him too because people are trying to say, okay, same location, very similar, similar teeth. I can't think of the guy's name, but the Epstein stuff is concerning. Many people should have went to jail along when Epstein went to jail, and so should have Maxwell. Many people should have went to jail along with them. And why they didn't? Because people were not doing their jobs. Period. People were not doing their jobs. They didn't want to get found out. So, talk to your husband, talk to your wife, talk to your children. Be cautious if you have to go back to the old way of using cash and using a credit card that does not have as much. Protect your finances. There's so many scams that's going on that you got to protect everything and anything. And then I saw a video, and I talked about this before too. I saw a video in regards to a lady went into Walmart and someone tried to get her to touch something. Luckily, she went to the pharmacy area and said, I'm here by myself. I think I touched something. I'm lightheaded. Do not let me leave here with anybody other than the police and talk to the police. Something is happening to my system. People are putting stuff on stuff to make you woozy. And I saw a video on that too. I was watching a video in regards to a man trying to talk to a teenage like person. They walked off. A man was trying to talk to an older lady. She walked off. He caught somebody that was probably in their 20s, and the older lady stood by. People are trying to get you to touch stuff so you'll be lightheaded. Luckily, that woman saw what was going on. She stopped it from happening. And then you know that there's hand signs you could do if somebody's trying to get you and kidnap you. Look that video up. Talk to your children about there's hand signals that people can do if somebody's trying to kidnap you. There's latches behind the trunk. Look up stuff. Educate yourself. There's things that if you're in a trunk, there's a latch in the trunk. Look up videos how to protect yourself. This is not to give people anxiety, but you have to educate yourself about your finances, scams, what's going on, what's happening, things that's in our food. You got to look it up. There's a lot going on. Like the video, y'all. Double tap the screen. I should be over. This video is probably going to have about 4,000, 5,000 views. I should already be at 1,000 views. I mean, 1,000 likes. I should already be at 1,000 likes. Please like the video. Please double tap that screen. And that's the thing too. I'm gonna have to have people hit the like more. I go my show goes fast. So we cover a range of things. I'm just not one trick pony. We cover what's happening, we talk about what's happening. Pam Bondi, she made decisions and she was probably told to do X, Y, and Z. Now she's gonna have to deal with what's gonna happen with her. So I'll play this. So then that way people will say, well, how did we get off on?
Pattern suggests Trump is willing to make swift.
Hold on. Like the video.
President Donald Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi just 1 year after she was sworn in. told CNN on Thursday, April 2nd, that Trump let Bondi go following what was described as a tough conversation the day before. While there were multiple reasons behind the decision, Trump was reportedly most frustrated with Bondi's handling of the Epstein files and for not prosecuting enough of his political opponents. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will temporarily step into the role as Bondi's replacement. Much like former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was fired and reassigned last month, Bondi will reportedly be moved to a different position within the administration rather than being let go entirely. Bondi's firing marks the second major cabinet shakeup of Trump's second term. Noem was removed from her role as DHS Secretary earlier in March after a series of bruising congressional hearings and was reassigned as Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. The pattern suggests Trump is willing to make swift changes when he feels members of his team are not delivering on his priorities.
And those priorities should be laid out, and those priorities should be met. Don't get caught up and get yourself in a position where you go to jail in regards to something your boss wants you to do. You got to protect yourself in all areas of your life: family, job, whatever. Talk to your spouse. Make sure y'all have an understanding. If something is over your head, talk to your spouse. Talk to your partner. Talk to your boyfriend. Husbands, you got to do what you got to do to protect the family, but don't let your boss let you get caught up where you going to jail. Don't do nothing that's going to get you caught up where you going to jail. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So well wishes to Pam Bondi. Well wishes to Pam
President
Bondi.
Donald Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Many people are not surprised she got fired. Okay, everyone, I have so many things I have to do. I was supposed to be out of here an hour ago. So, like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here. I'm back slow, but I'm back. We cover so many different things, and I cover what I can cover. I don't act like I know everything. I don't. And I don't try to. I don't try and be the first. I can't. I got too many things going on. So if I bring y'all video, take it with a grain of salt. All comments are alleged, just giving our opinion. I appreciate all the kind comments. Don't forget to subscribe. I bring y'all what I can. I listen to news people that give me proper news. I listen to different YouTubers that give me the proper information. I listen to law pages. I listen to people that really break things down in a good way. And I try and bring that to y'all. We're not perfect over here. We don't try to be perfect. People make decisions. Sometimes you have to make better decisions to protect yourself and your family. So much is going on. It's sickening. Celebrities and their foolery, celebrities and their PR stunt. People make decisions. Make decisions that's going to protect yourself and your family. That's all you can do. Be better, do better. Everyone have a great day. Please, I hope everyone has subscribed. We have about 164 in the building. Please hit subscribe. Um, I'm not certain if I'll do a video on Saturday. I might try. But yeah, definitely look into protecting your bank accounts because there's scams going on in regards to bank accounts. I got that text message and I called my bank. But what they're trying to do, like I said, they're trying to send you PIN numbers for you to send to them. So you got to protect your bank accounts. You got to protect your family. You can, you guys. Well wishes. If this is your birthday month, happy birthday. If this is your anniversary month, happy anniversary. That may be something we'll start doing. Just saying. Yeah, a lot of people are, and I think you're the same one that's saying that Todd Blanche may not be any better. So it is what it is. The country is in a mess right now. Real talk. The country's in a mess right now, and we're being laughed at by many countries of how they're handling the Epstein situation, how they're handling what's in our food, how we're handling and getting scammed. Look at what's that young guy's name? And he outed the people in Minnesota, and then he just recently went to LA, and people are scamming the country out of money too. And these mayors and governors are ignoring a lot of stuff. The child care centers, not really having the proper amount of children in there, the elderly care situation, the hospice situation. You got to be, there's a lot of scams going on, and these people have gotten away with it for years. So check on your parents, talk with your parents, make sure they have alarm systems, make sure they have cameras, make sure there's not a lot of people going in and out of your home and in and out of your mom's home. If your children have to take Uber, Lyft, contact me, take a picture of the license plate, take a picture of the person, do whatever you got to do to protect yourself. There's a lot going on. A lot going on. Yes, Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley is doing the doggone thing. And you got to realize, Nick Shirley, what he's been talking about, people been speaking about it for years in certain cities and states, and they were ignored. It takes a young guy with a camera, with security. So if you're able to support Nick Shirley, do that. He often has security, have to have security going into these locations, busting these scammers. Nick Shirley is doing the doggone thing that some people have been trying to get assistance and help with, of the scams that's going on in their city state. Nick Shirley been doing the doggone thing, but they're trying to scare him in regards to not coming to the city because he's going to bust them. The hospice thing is so concerning. They're creating buildings and they act like they're helping hospice patients, and they're not in certain situations. And these people are living and they're well and they're acting like they're in hospice. This is the biggest thing. You got to look that document up. You got to look up that video, because what's happening, if somebody puts your name that you are in hospice and you're really not, you're going to have a hard time getting medical help, medical coverage, because they put you in the system as being a person that has hospice. How are they even getting access to this? I don't know. But look up Nick Shirley in regards to his most recent video in regards to him going into LA. And then Newsom is mad because he's outing certain situations. No, Newsom, we saw what happens in regards to the fires. There should have been proper water hydrants hydrating and putting out these fires. Some of these people were by the oceans, by the lakes, and their houses burnt up. There's a lot going on. There's no way you're living that closer to ocean and lake and your house is burning down. There's a lot of things that these wealthy people need to pay attention. They need to protect their assets. They need to protect their families better. Because guess what? As we're seeing, some of these mayors, some of these governors, some of these cities and states aren't really protecting us the way that they should. You got to protect yourself. Real talk. You got to protect yourself. Do whatever you got to do to protect your family away from BS and drama. That whole LA situation and the fires, $1 million homes burned down within 10-15 minutes. A lot going on. A lot going on. A lot going on. Yeah. So, yeah, stop supporting these companies that's trying to taint our children too. Talk with your children. What are you seeing? What are you watching? Um, Is somebody trying to get you to go somewhere? Tell your children, don't fall for that. Don't go nowhere with, you don't know the people. People are gonna try and get you out of your home. Watch the website. Talk to them. There are people that are just sick and they do sick things to people just to get a rise out of. And if you're not communicating with your husband and your children, you need to sit down and talk to them. You need to do that today. We got to start watching what we eat, family. I know you're not going to like it. We got to watch what's happening. We got to watch how we use our credit card. We got to watch what we're spending. People are running major scams. Don't let it happen to you and your family. These celebrities are trying to taint your children. These celebrities, a lot of them are not for the right thing. They're as about as messed up like everyday people. And these celebrities are to push a narrative in your face. Yeah. Yeah. So, well wishes, Pound Bondi. We're gonna watch what happens to her and other people that's in Congress making decisions. So we're gonna keep an eye on Pound Bondi and see what happens to her between this year and next year. Protect yourself. Don't do things you're gonna break the law. Just don't do it. Protect yourself. Watch what you sign. Watch how you answer phone calls. These people are even trying to call your phone and they want you to say certain words. Don't do it. Sometimes say, "Who is this?" And don't say yes. Don't answer phone call unless you know who it is. Call. It's okay. Call your bank back. Go up. I told you go to your bank. But you got to be careful. Places are trying to get you to say, yes, this is her. Hi. No. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? And then sometimes they'll hang up. Watch how you answer your phone. Who is this? How can I help you? Don't confirm that you're so and so. As soon as you say yes, they're trying to get you to say yes. They're trying to get you to give their credit card over the phone. They're trying to get you to give private information. They're trying to get your address. Do not say yes in certain phone calls. If you have to call a place back because you're not certain, take 10 seconds to call that place back and verify that that's the place. Sometimes people are getting access to your information and you think it's them. You think it's your bank. You think it's, your credit union. Be cautious. Red flags up on people in certain situations. But yes, y'all, Pam Bondi, girl. And we saw when she sat there and she was shading people, and saying certain things. We saw. Let me see. We saw. So Pam Bondi put that book together because she knew. She knew she was going to be looked at. And she tried to distract. And then she tried to shade people and try to make conversation about what they were into. Well, your city, your state, look at the things that you're doing. You're not really girl. Pam Bondi is something else. Well wishes though. Let's put that up. Be cautious about stuff. That's me. Be cautious about stuff. Be cautious. I hope that's the right thing. It's like stop. I don't know every emoji, but be cautious about stuff. If that's the wrong emoji, I tried to look for red flags, I couldn't find it. So be cautious about stuff, y'all. Don't make no quick decisions. Talk with your lawyer. Watch what you sign. People are trying to run scams on people every day, and let them know you're not to be played with. You're not to be messed with. So I wish everyone well. Yeah. Yeah. Skepticism is how you protect yourself. Yeah. Just be cautious. So I wish everyone well. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Be careful with what you eat. You go to these restaurants, be careful what you eat. And look up videos of what you should be eating and how you should be protecting your family. I'm even going to do better in certain situations. So, everyone have a great day. I'm going to remove that. I was looking for the red flag. I'm going to remove it my doggone self. But protect yourself. Look up videos in regards to the scams they're doing about your credit card. Look up videos in regards to what you're eating, what they're doing to chickens, what they're doing to the beef, what they're doing to the eggs. Things are so processed. It's sickening right now. And that's the other sad thing. Other countries don't have to deal with their food stuff. And this is one thing. I don't know if you know, certain countries in regards to some of their fast food, they're not able to put in what they put in our food. Some countries, a potato is a potato and salt. Ours have so many preservatives in what we're eating at some of these fast food restaurants. You got to be cautious. It's sickening of what's happening in this country. And then they don't want people, it's almost like they want people to be ill, not well, because companies make money off that. I even got to be cautious of what I say. Be cautious. Be cautious of what you take. They're giving you something. What's the side effects? Why am I taking this? What is it going to do? I saw a video, and I'll end up kind of with this. I saw a video of Cat Williams saying the some of the some of the prescription names, and it's like you went in there for a rash, now you got shingles. So if you need something to uh Yeah, if you need some laughter, find laughter. Get watch videos that make you laugh. Just educate yourself about your food and the different scams that's going on. Yeah, it's so much going on. It's like how could they do that to people? How are they able to get away with it? And then the labels, how they're making the labels, how they're trying to make something seem as, and if you're not educated, you don't know. You know what I mean? So, yeah, y'all, just protect your family. And if they say, "Who did you listen to today? Why you different?" Do whatever you can to protect your marriage, your relationships, your children. Talk with your children about protection, being out and about, being at friends' house. Adults, watch your drinks, watch your surroundings. It's not to put fear, it's just to educate, you know? But just have a conversation with your family today. How are you? Are there any concerns at school? Are there any concerns at the uh, community center you go to? Are you hearing anything that's concerning? Talk with your husband. Hey, honey, let's start talking more. Let's start communicating more. How is your job? If there's ever a time you need to walk away, we'll figure it out. Talk to your spouses. Talk to your boyfriends. Talk to your girlfriends. Are you in a situation? Are you safe? Do we need to come up with a plan? You know what I mean? So I don't know what got me on that, but well wishes, Pam Bondi. Well wishes. Be careful what your bosses want you to do and say, and what your bosses want you to put out and present to people, and what they want you to say to people. If there's a situation you're having with the company you're working for, look up what to do in regards to those situations and who to talk to. Because some companies get mad when you speak up and they want to fire you for being the whistleblower. So if you have to be cautious about being the whistleblower, take notes. Do what you need to do to protect yourself and your family. You know, some people don't like whistleblowers. So, well wishes, everyone. Have a great week. Be blessed. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Yes, my page is a little different. We try and educate, notify, and tell you how to protect yourself and your family. Watch the foolery. Watch these celebrities. These celebrities are trying to put out a narrative to shift and how they want you to believe in what they're trying to sell, because they're getting sometimes kickbacks off that. So we talk about different celebrities and ways other people don't talk about them. Sometimes celebrities will try and distract about what's really going on. So my page is a little different. You can't handle that. I'm sorry. Go on over to listen to the housewives. We don't cover the housewives stuff unless there's situations. We don't cover the housewives situation. We want families to be strong and protected. So the housewife stuff, we only cover it if there's a situation. A lot of these housewife brands want you to be in a situation where your family's breaking up. They want you to be going through divorce. They want to know if you can't hold a relationship. They want to know if you're full of drama. Not over here. If that's what you into, this is not the page for you, and that's okay. Some of these housewives have a lot of issues and they make bad decisions on camera, and then when they walk away from Bravo or other places, I don't even do the baddie stuff. I can't get into that stuff even if you paid me. I don't have time for that. That unhealthy stuff is sad. The Kardashians and their unhealthy relationships is sad. Lamar is talking, Tristan talking. Chloe stayed in that situation knowing that man wasn't good for her. Kim stayed in that situation with Kanye, knowing Kanye had concerns. Some of these people are at the height of their careers. Now they get in relationships. Make sure you're in relationships that's healthy while you're in it and when you leave it. If it's not healthy, walk away. These celebrities want to put in your face like everything's okay. And this is how you should be looking, and this is the goals you should be meeting. No, do what's right for you and your family. Do what's right for you. If you're a single mom, do whatever you can to protect your child. Make sure they're going to a daycare that's safe. Make sure you know and the daycare people know, don't play with my child. Don't let my child go with nobody but me or the daddy or this aunt. You got to protect yourself, and you got to make sure, don't, if people get mad that you're vocal, and you're sticking up for yourself, oh well, be around people that support that. Okay? But oh, thank you. We need more voices like yours. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I was just on one today. Like I said, this I did a video yesterday and I did a video today. Y'all can hear it in my voice. I'm trying to do my videos because I'm seeing certain things and it's like, dang, my people on my page need to know that. So, um, I ain't gonna go into my personal because people I don't do YouTube beefs either. I ain't got time for that. People are weird on YouTube. I don't do YouTube beefs, so I don't really talk about my personal stuff because people are weird. So, we just talk about what's in the news. But yeah, just you got to protect yourself about what you say on YouTube. But all is well. All is well. But yeah, I'm gonna be back slow. But even with YouTube, I should be getting way more money than I'm getting. Got to deal with that too. So all is well. But just hang in there, everybody. Stay paid. Talk to your spouse. Talk to your children. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. There's a lot of scams that people are trying to do. Because, see, people are popping in and out. That's I'm repeating myself in certain situations. People are popping in. At one point, we had 205 in here. Then another minute, we had 265. So people are popping in and out. Protect yourself. Protect your family. Protect your surroundings. Protect your credit card. Protect your credit. Protect your bank accounts. Don't do anything on your phones. Go to your bank. People are trying to scam people with their phones right now, and they want you to send codes. And we heard about that scam. Remember how? And I saw a video too. I saw a video. This is another thing, and I'm going to end it here. I saw a video where somebody cashed apped someone, and then the person said, oh, I cashed apped you. He said, don't hit return. That person should have hit return. People are trying to even scam people on cash apps. So you got to be cautious with that too. Look up videos regarding that. If there's something that's not right, take a beat. Think it through. Don't do something that can cost you money. Have a great day, everyone. Be blessed.